Welcome back, everyone, to the Digital Product Mama podcast. I am your host, Lindsay Bowden, and I have my business manager, Emily, back here today. She's been on the podcast before, and she is back again today. And we are going to be talking about a kind of secret project that we worked on over the summer. I've hinted about it on here before, but we both started a brand new business from scratch this summer to really put ourselves in the shoes of customers who are in the beginning stages of their business. So, Emily, I'm so excited that you are here and I'm ready to tell all the things that we've been working on secretly this summer.
I know it's been so hard, like not saying anything about it, but I am so excited to finally share what we've been doing, spill the beans, and let everyone in on the secret.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was kind of like a passion project. It didn't feel like work to me because it was a new niche that I am really passionate about, kind of like outside of my normal business world. So it was a lot of fun to really dive into this. So in the beginning of the summer, I told Emily that I had this idea that I wanted to start a new business from scratch and really see what was still working for beginners who had no email list, no Instagram, like they were literally starting from zero. And is it still possible for someone who is starting from zero to sell a digital product in this online landscape that is, really saturated with a lot of different products and a lot of different businesses? And kind of feel how it felt to be at zero and work your way up from the beginning, because I haven't been in that position for about 5 or 6 years. So I wanted to remember how that all felt. So I told Emily and she was on board and she said, well, I want to do that too. I have this idea too for this kind of new niche that I am interested in that has nothing to do with business. And so I said, well, let's do it. Let's see how long it takes us to you know, really go through every single beginning step. So that's what we did. So I'll tell you what my niche was, and then I'll let Emily kind of talk about hers. So I decided to talk about eating gluten-free. So I started eating gluten-free 100% about 2 years ago when I was going through secondary infertility and a lot of different health issues. And I started seeing a holistic practitioner who recommended that I go gluten-free for inflammation and for a lot of different things. And I really saw a huge change in my health. We also went through some different things, mold detox and these other holistic things. And I was able to get pregnant naturally with my second after 2 years of not being able to and not being able to find answers. So obviously this subject, this niche is really important to me and I'm passionate about it. And so I started the new business, Kinda Crunchy Fam. And if you don't know what crunchy means, back in the day, I feel like a lot of people talked about people being granola, which just meant like they were into like holistic kind of clean living. And then it kind of transformed into crunchy, granola crunchy. Um, so that is what I called my new business, Kinda Crunchy Fam, kind of because we're not like 100%, we're still try to maintain balance, but my family and I try to eat clean and we eat gluten-free. And so anyway, that's what I decided to talk about, was kind of how that lifestyle change affected me. So yeah, so Emily, what was your idea?
Yeah, so mine, kind of like yours, has nothing to do with earning money or anything like that. I decided to try a business called Girls Who Hate Sports. And that kind of stemmed from my experience when I started dating my boyfriend. He loves the NFL, and I knew nothing about the NFL. Like, I've watched football my whole life, but the NFL was a brand new world to me. And I found myself like sitting in bars and restaurants watching football for hours and hours on Sundays. And I was like, this is insane. I'm spending so much time. I know nothing about it. I'm not excited about it. Wanted to spend time with him, but it just was not what I would have chosen. And so I kind of found myself with this. I needed an attitude adjustment almost about it. And so I was like, I need to find a way to make this more fun. And so I started just finding little things that I could do to get involved more. I started playing fantasy football. I came in second in our league, which is I didn't realize is like actually kind of a big deal. So I started playing fantasy football. I started making like little activities almost for me to do during the game. So I would create like bingo cards, and I would like I made it specific to things that my boyfriend did while he watched games. Like if he stood really close to the TV and like screamed at the defense or something, and I would put that on the bingo card and check it off, and all of those types of things that were like just fun and extra. And most people aren't going to do it themselves, but it just made it so much more fun for me. And so I just kind of wanted to share like those ideas and really make it about like connection, right? Like it's not about watching football, it's about me now being more connected to my boyfriend and us having a better, stronger relationship because of that. So that was my idea. And it, like Lindsay said, it was just really fun to do and to kind of think about the process that I went through on my own before any of this started. It was really fun to see how I could kind of apply that in a more general sense and help other people find fun ways to connect with their partners. So.
Right. I love that. When she told me that idea, I was like, that is so good. And I feel like so girls, young girls, even like married women struggle with like their husband or their partner watching football all the time and they have no clue what's happening. I am like that. My husband's super into football, but any kind of sport, I'm like, I don't know. So there's like something fun to make it more fun while you're watching, like I'm all on board. So I thought that was a great idea. So as we, kind of figured out, okay, these are the niches that we want to go with. I knew that as I was going through this process, I wanted to record everything that I was doing and share that with other people because I know that other people are starting from the beginning. And so I wanted to kind of lay out the step-by-step process for starting this business from scratch, choosing a niche. And we just kind of told you the process of us choosing a niche. It wasn't anything that we considered ourselves to be experts in. Like, obviously, I'm not a medical professional. I was not trying to help people with their health necessarily. I was just telling people my personal experience and giving tips for eating gluten-free. And so it doesn't have to be something super serious. Emily's is just about having fun and connecting with your partner, which is a need. People want that, but it's not like you're a relationship expert or a
Not a
counselor.
counselor, yeah.
And
Just
so,
a girl who's watching football.
yeah, and so when you're thinking about like if you're in the beginning stages and you're like, okay, this is kind of where I need to start, when you're choosing your niche, and I've had episodes about niche before, so you can definitely go back and listen to those, but think about like your life experiences or what you're personally dealing with. Those are always the best niches because as you are creating, as you are marketing, you know how you feel and how it feels to struggle with whatever your niche is. So it's so much easier to get your messaging and your marketing right because you know how it feels, you know how other people are feeling. So that's how we started with our niche. I also knew as I was going through this process that I wanted to create a lower ticket paid offer with this niche. So, season one was all about online courses, and I still love courses and memberships. And I also knew that smaller ticket offers were selling really well in this landscape. So I knew I wanted to kind of go in a different direction and create a smaller ticket digital offer. And by smaller ticket, I just mean something less than $100. And honestly, right now I'm seeing $50 or less, depending on the niche, and something that was faster to create, something that I could create, within a few weeks, which that's what we did. And something that I could sell without like a webinar or a challenge or a huge launch, something that I could literally send a sales page to someone and they make a decision right then to buy because the price point is on point for that. So we wanted to make sure that we did that. We also wanted to make sure that the niches that we chose weren't related to making money because I feel like a lot of people have hesitations about starting a business because they think, well, if I'm not teaching other people how to make money, I'm not going to be successful. And that's not necessarily true. You can really have a niche about anything as long as other people are struggling or looking for a solution to your niche. So we started with that. And as I was going through the step-by-step process, like I said, I recorded everything. And that is where my Hey Digital Product Playbook was kind of born. I wrote down everything that I did, and we're going to kind of go through the timeline of everything that we did this summer. But I put everything inside of this playbook, and it's basically the step-by-step process from zero to sell your first small ticket digital product. So very excited about that. You can grab that at lindsaybowden.com/playbook. We'll talk about that a little more at the end. But yeah, Emily, anything else you want to add before we go into like the kind of timeline of everything?
No, I just everything you said about, you don't have to be an expert, just choose something that you struggle with because there are what, 8 billion people on this planet now, and someone else is struggling with it too. And so if you had a problem that you needed a solution for, someone else has the same problem. So don't overcomplicate it. Just go for it.
Right, right, for sure. Okay, so one thing I did want to mention before we get into the timeline is we are going to break this kind of whole summer project that we did up into 2 episodes. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about what we did in June, which was finding our niche, building an audience, and creating the paid products. So I went over my NAPS framework, niche, audience, product, sell, a few episodes back in episode 41. And so we'll be talking about the first 3 steps. So finding a niche, we just talked about that, an audience, which is your email list, and then actually creating the paid product. And then next week, we'll talk about how we actually went about creating the funnels to sell the paid product. So make sure you come back next week for that. All right, so I will go ahead and kind of give my timeline for what I was able to accomplish in June, and then I'll let Emily do this too. Now, I will say this was kind of like, let me just set the stage for you. This was in the summer, so I have 2 kids. My 4-year-old was home with us full time, obviously. I also have a baby, and I was doing this in the margins of summer because I didn't want to spend my whole summer doing this. So I was working during nap times or when my husband would, take my 4-year-old somewhere. So I was probably working 3 to 5 hours a week, I would say, on this. Um, so it wasn't something that was consuming every minute of every day. Emily, how much do you think you were working per week on this?
That's about the same for me. It was around 4 hours a week, some more, some less. And like you said, I don't have kids, but still just kind of in the margins of, I work and have to keep a life going, so it it was kind of 30 minutes here, an hour here, whatever I could fit in just to my normal schedule.
Yeah. So we say all that to say that if you're working full time, if you are a stay-at-home mom and have kids full time, like you can definitely build this type of business in the margins of whatever your life is right now. Before the kids get up, nap time, after the kids go to bed, it's totally doable, which is why I love low ticket offers.
Yeah.
So let me go over kind of my timeline of this summer. So I started June 1st. I started brainstorming lead magnet ideas, which are freebies. So I had already kind of chosen a niche before then, but that probably took me like a day. So I chose a niche, and then June 1st, I started brainstorming freebies. And then June 5th, I started creating that freebie. And the reason you want to create a freebie, and I go over all of this in the playbook, like step by step, every single detail that you need, how to find a freebie that's actually going to be desirable for people using market research. That's all in the playbook. But I probably spent, let's see if I can kind of calculate this, 2 to 3 hours total creating that freebie in Canva. Um, On the 10th, I started doing some tech setup. So setting up Flowdesk, which is what I used for my email list. That was very easy. Flowdesk is so easy to use. I did some research behind the scenes of different email service providers that I'm not calculating in this time here because you wouldn't have to do this research yourself. But I did kind of think through different providers, what is going to be the best for this type of business, and Flowdesk was definitely it because you can build your email list and you can also sell your paid product with Flowdesk. So set up my tech. And then let's see, on June 12th, I started working on my paid product. So my paid product was an ebook about clean gluten-free snacks. So it listed like multiple different types of snack categories and gluten-free snacks for each of those categories. I made it in Canva. I did some research about ingredients and things like that. So overall, to make the paid product, let's see if I can do some quick calculations here. Maybe 5 to 6 hours total. And I think my ebook was like 100 pages. Now, I will say that there were big pictures, so that was taking up a lot of space. And it's going to depend on your niche as to how long it's going to take you to make a paid product, how long the paid product is going to be, what type of paid product, but that's how long it took me, about 5 to 6 hours. Let's see. Then pretty much the rest of June was creating an additional paid product. So I wanted to create two paid products because I wanted an upsell, which I talk about in the playbook. Then I started working on my sales page and my checkout page on June 24th. That took me about an hour and a half total to create the sales page and the checkout page and make sure like all the tech was set up to be able to sell my paid product. And then I wrapped everything up on June 28th. I proofread my paid product. I made sure that like everything was connected. And I also tested. So I went through the process of a customer and I bought my paid product and made sure like I received it via email and all the tech was set up. So 28 days, we'll say 29 because I chose my niche in one day to choose my niche, do the research for my lead magnet, create my lead magnet, do the research for my paid product, set up the tech, create my paid product, and then set up like the sales page and the checkout process for my paid product. And again, that was working about 3 to 5 hours per week. So Emily, I know yours isn't quite as detailed, which is totally
Yeah.
fine. I was like, I wanted to make sure I got every minute of like what I was doing because I wanted to
Yes.
get an accurate representation of how long this would take someone.
No, that's great. I I found that I kind of kept mine a little more general about just like I was working on my lead magnet or paid product or tech or but I didn't have quite as specific um, details on exactly what part of the tech or what part of the product. But I found that lead magnet was about 4 hours of time, and that would have been like planning we talk about how to use AI to help with that and actually creating it about 4 hours, then about 2 hours to set up like email domain stuff all together. Again, this would have been in like 15-30 minute increments, not
Right.
necessarily all in one sitting.
Right.
Then about 3 more hours for just kind of general tech setup, more of that email, like Lindsay was talking about the checkout pages, things like that, kind of making sure it's all working. And then about 6 hours or so total for the paid product. And that was the same as Lindsay over the course of about a month. I think maybe mine was about 27 days or so, but not working every single day and about 4 hours a week.
Yeah. And can you tell us what your paid product was?
Yeah, so the paid product is a bundle of a few different activities to do, like while you're watching a football game. So it was, I'm not exactly sure how many pages total it would have been because it was, I think, 4 different items that people would have gotten or 4 different downloads that people would have gotten.
Right.
But I did find that as I was creating those, the way that I was making them, um, I was able to make like the first page and then I could just duplicate that
Oh,
for most of the rest of the product. So I was able to get just the very first part of it right, and then the rest of it went really quickly. So that's another idea for a product is think of something that you can just kind of replicate more than one time and not have to like every single page doesn't have to be brand new.
right. Like
I
it's,
did find
yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So I did find that that was once I kind of got that finalized, it took the longest to get like the first page or two just right. But then everything went so quickly after that. And it was just kind of the nature of what I was creating. It was, football is in weeks. So the activities were like based on weeks. So once I got week one finished, then the rest of them just went really quickly.
Yeah. And I wanted to also tell everyone what our lead magnets were. So my
Oh
lead
yeah.
magnet was a a gluten-free bread guide. So the lead magnet really kind of flowed right into my paid product, which I talk about in the playbook, how to make sure that happens, because when we set up the funnels, which we'll talk about next week, you want to make sure that it makes sense to go from the lead magnet directly to the paid product. So my freebie was a gluten-free, clean, store-bought bread guide. And then, like I said, my paid product was snacks. So what was your freebie?
Mine was ways to make watching football more enjoyable, and every idea was had like an action step, an immediate, you go do this right now to kind of prepare for the next time you're going to be watching a game. And I think it was two of the ideas led to the paid bundle. It was the idea was the activity that
Yeah,
was part of the bundle. So kind of like yours, it was just very natural. It flowed right into it. It's like if you're looking for ways to make it more fun right now, go download this and
right.
it'll be ready for you next time you go to watch a game.
Perfect. I love that. So yeah, so that was our timeline for June. And after we got all of that set up, finding our niche, starting our email list, building out the paid products and making sure all the tech was set up, then in July is when we started creating the funnels and trying to sell the paid product, which is what we're going to talk about next week. But I wanted to kind of give a couple of notes for different people that might be listening and wondering like when they should implement these strategies that we're talking about into their business. So I want to start with teachers first, because I know I have a lot of teacher listeners, and you may have been a part of my program, the Resource Academy, which is for teachers to create educational resources and printables, lesson plans, worksheets, and sell them on a website called Teachers Pay Teachers. And if that's you, this playbook that we've been talking about would be the perfect next step for you. The reason I really encourage teachers who are creating educational printables to start selling on Teachers Pay Teachers and not like their own website or Instagram is because TPT already has a lot of traffic. A big part of selling your digital products is traffic. And we'll talk about that next week. It's not easy to get your own traffic. When Emily and I started we sold it on Instagram. It's hard. It was a lot of work, and any business is a lot of work, and anyone that tells you otherwise is lying. But I try to point people into the easiest of the hard directions first, and TPT is definitely the best first step. So list your resources on there because the traffic is already there. You don't really have to do a lot of marketing. Then this would be the next step if you want to start an email list, which is so important for teacher sellers. And if you want to potentially sell those bundles, those units of resources on Instagram or on your own website and have these automated funnels, which we'll talk about next week for actually selling those, this would be the next step for you is this playbook. And then for maybe people who aren't a teacher, maybe I have moms or other women who are listening, or guys, you're totally you're totally welcome here too, but it's just mostly women. That's okay. If you are thinking, okay, well, I don't have any kind of business started yet, this is the perfect first step for you because you're most likely not selling educational printables. Again, if you want to sell educational stuff, TPT is for you. But if you're selling something else, like we've been talking about, like an ebook or a mini course or something that's not related to education, then this playbook is perfect for you because it's going to walk you through the step-by-step process for setting it up, creating the product, and then selling it on some type of platform. You need some platform to sell it on if you're not selling on like Etsy or TPT. So this would be perfect for you. So if all of this is sounding really exciting to you and you're thinking, wow, well, they did it from scratch, I can do this too, then you definitely need to grab my playbook. You can do that by heading to lindsaybowden.com/playbook. And when you go to that link, it's automatically going to apply a 50% off discount for 4 days. As soon as you like type that in your browser and hit enter, then you will get 50% off for 4 days. A timeline or countdown will start for you. So just know that it's time sensitive. So you want to make sure that you grab that 50% off before that countdown timer ends. And yeah, like I said, it's everything that you need step by step for starting a low ticket business, a low ticket product business from scratch. Yeah, is there anything I left out, Emily? I know we have a lot more to talk about next week, but
Yeah, no, I think that was a really great start, and kind of like we hit on, like just go for it. It's not easy, like you said, but it's also very manageable and doable, and there's no reason that you can't you can't make it happen. You can't do it. So just go
okay,
for it.
go for it. I love it. All right, guys. Well, make sure that you tune back in next week where we'll talk about how we actually started to sell these paid products that we created in June. You don't want to miss it, and we'll see you then. Bye.